It's about to be epic. It's about to be crazy. It's about to be epically crazy.
It felt a lot like this movie is kind of going back to the roots of what Transformers was for a lot of people. Yeah, did it feel that way for you as well?
Yeah, 100%. You know, people were like, "Yo, man, even the models feel like the TV show in the '80s." Like, you know, they're like, "Man, they really look. This is the most they've looked like those guys." And Steven was really intentional about, you know, getting the Autobots and you know, to look like those characters in the cartoon. And it's insane to me, man. Like what they did with Rhinox and Cheetor and Primal. These characters look incredible, man. So it's you know, a shout out to the VFX team and Steven and Gary and all those guys that worked on this. They really smashed this.
Why has it been sort of a nice sort of franchise reset to go back and do these prequels?
You know, I don't know why they did it, but for me, it's cool that they did it because I think it's a really special, you know, moment in time, the '90s, you know, specifically. And I think it's you know, it's a nice continuation of Bumblebee, right? We left Bumblebee with this beautiful emotional arc that I think was executed so beautifully, especially by Haley Steinfeld. I think she killed that. And you know, it's just cool to be able to continue that on and really take the spirit of that movie, but also the ginormous just this big feeling of the first movie as well, with all these larger than life characters and kind of meshing them together to continue the franchise in this way, but in a new way that feels new, you know, and fresh.
What did you think of the decision to center it more on Mirage?
I loved it. I mean, it's called Transformers, you know, it's right. And so it's like, who's the next Transformer? We're gonna make the antagonist, you know, who's that, right? You know, Primal's been the main character for a long time. And I think that it's nice to have a new centerpiece. And Mirage, you know, Pete Davidson is amazing. Pete is incredible. You know, when I went in to do ADR and I'm listening back to these takes and just new lines he added, I'm like, yo, he's perfect. Like, who else was gonna do this? And you know, I think he makes Mirage such an exciting character. You know, he makes Mirage an exciting focal point. You know, Pete makes the job easier for everybody else and makes everyone else look better. You know.
What about the villain, Anthony? Unicron?
Oh, people were going crazy. I mean, Unicron, the Planet Eater, right? But not only Unicron, but you know, we see that this is the biggest villain we've ever seen in these movies, and you're seeing it also in who's working with him and working for him, right? The Predacons and Scourge being the leading, you know, at the head of that group, you know. And Scourge is the biggest villain we've seen right now. It's Unicron, but even Scourge, even if it was just Scourge, he'd still be the biggest, you know, bigger than Megatron. You know, this guy's scarier than Megatron. Like, you're like, yo. This is crazy, you know, so seeing Scourge, you know, him being that's the sadistic when every time he kills a Maximal or anybody, you know, he'll take their emblem and put it on him, you know, like he's just a menace. And Peter Dinklage is amazing, and you know, to be able to get an actor like him to play this part was huge, you know, and people are excited about Unicron. They're like, yo, man, I'm happy finally we get to see him.
Anthony, Noah, he's a hero that I think people are really going to get behind and root for. I think you do such a good job of making him so likable and making his arc, you know, something that I really wanted to root for throughout that movie. What sets him apart from Sam and Cade and Charlie, Haley's Charlie and Bumblebee?
What sets him apart? I mean, you know, he grew up in New York. He grew up in Brooklyn. He's Puerto Rican. That already sets him apart. Right, that you know, we're in the 90s. None of those characters were in the 90s, right? So he's a very different, you know, it's a different time, a different place, you know, and you know, we get to see this relationship between, you know, Noah and his little brother, We didn't get to see, we obviously saw, Mark Wahlberg and his character's, daughter, and you get to see Shia and his parents, right? We get to see that dynamic and that relationship, but it's really special to see Noah and his little brother, and we get to see that relationship and how his little brother impacts his life and how his little brother's condition, right? That is, I think, so relatable to so many people when they see a family member going through something that his little brother's going through. The first thing is like, yo, how can I help? What can I do? How can I contribute? And feeling like you can't help and what that does to you, right? How that makes you make decisions that you might not usually make out of desperation because you want to help so bad. You want to help your mom, support your family. So I think that there are a lot of new elements to Noah. And again, at the end of the movie, we get to see Noah get involved in a fight in a way that we've never seen the humans get involved. So there are a lot of new things about not only him but all the humans in this movie.
Anthony, before I let you go, people are going to go crazy for how this movie ends. I don't want to spoil it for people. You get to that page in the script. Maybe you can just tell me what's going through your mind when you read that scene.
Yo, that scene wasn't even in the script. That's what was crazy. They put it in later, but it was Steven added it in later on. He's like, yo, I feel like we should end it this way. You know what? I'm lying to you. That scene wasn't in the script, but it wasn't approved yet. That got approved like 3 weeks ago or something like that, So it was like a hope and a dream and aspiration of Stephen Capel Jr. And it took a lot of people to get that done. But I'm grateful that there was yeses all around, and it's just like, yo, let's expand this universe. Let's make this as big as possible. Let's make this the biggest. Let's make these the biggest Transformers movies anyone has ever seen, right? And let's get these fans excited, and give them something to look forward to. So, shout out to Steven for doing that, and Paramount, and Steven Spielberg, and Michael Bay, and everybody involved in these films. Lorenzo, Mark. So it's exciting. I'm hyped. I was going crazy when I saw that.
Roll out. Wow, that was corny when I said it out loud. Oh yeah, oh yeah.